TheShowLab Producer Podcast, the podcast that's strictly for producers.
Yo, you're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast, man. And I have my homeboy, a good friend of mine, T. Wilder, in the building. What up, T?
What's good with you, man? All is well?
No doubt, man. I hated to catch you while you was on the road driving, but definitely wanted to go ahead and get you on the show, man. How you been? You been good?
I've been good, man. It's just, you caught me at a funny time. My transition period right after work and home is usually like the moment of like reflection and it's my time, not just to pray, but it's just one of those quiet moments that I reflect. So this is cool because you caught me at a downtime. I'm always busy. I know you're a dad too, so you come home from work and you come home from doing stuff, and you got kids picking up kids from school and football and soccer and this and that and church and choir. It's nonstop. Then you got dinner, so it's a nonstop thing. So this is actually a great time for me to talk. Well,
man, I appreciate you, man. I'm glad that we was able to meet and chop it up, man. But man, what this show is about, bro, is about producers working closely with the artist, man. And just me knowing you and been knowing each other for a while, man, I know that you are one of those producers that like to work like hands-on with the artist. Mainly, I know that you and Datin did a whole bunch of stuff when Datin was back in Jersey. I know it's kind of hard now that he's in Florida, but when he was in Jersey, it was just like a hop and a skip. So, man, we just wanted to talk about, just the whole aspect of producers and artists working together, like in the same space, and what makes it more unique than just email after email. And first, before we get into that, man, just open up I want to start the show by you letting people know who you are, man, and what you do and all that good stuff.
Oh, man, who I am a father. I am a husband, servant, producer. I guess you can say I use that word lightly because I do agree in part with Timberland's statement where he mentioned recently that he feels like there are hardly no producers anymore, just programmers.
Wow.
And to an extent, I agree with that. To an extent, lightly, which is why I use the term producer lightly, because I'm still getting my feet wet. So yeah, in regards to my, work or stuff like that, I try to stay quiet with that stuff. Whatever people see in Christian hip hop is what they see, but I've been actually doing this for a long time, and I don't really talk about that stuff. Right. But I've been doing licensing since I was about 19, 20 years old. Okay. I first went to school for post-production and sound design and engineering. And
I didn't know that,
internships with some really cool people.
Yeah,
man.
I didn't know that, bro.
I was 18. I did a 2-year program, got an associate's out of it, out in New York. One of the first ones in the NYU campus to do the programs. I met a lot of cool people. I got to intern with some people now that are out there doing it. But before they were just we were crate retrievers. You know what I'm saying? We were flunkies, just staying up all night getting coffee and but that paid off because a lot of my friends that I went to school with later on became interns at Viacom, BET, CBS, VH1, and they were part of Creative Suites.
Wow!
And a lot of them, now are music supervisors or content clearance people, or in charge of Creative Suites, which means they're in direct connection with the music that gets placed. The editing, the music beds, all that stuff that happens, and I've been blessed to have friendships with them. So we're all like-minded, like-spirited people. So I just shoot music over, it gets in the database, and I've been getting stuff played for a while, and it's been a blessing. I mainly keep it quiet. Yeah. And I think one of the reasons why I've always kept it quiet, because I learned early on from what I've seen, is there are people that give out opportunity, and there's people that seek opportunity. And whenever you give some kind of accolade or, introduce something of what you've done, there's always people on the come up that don't understand the value of networking and net worth. And, I've always kept quiet because when it comes to networking, I can't network with you unless I have something to offer you.
Right.
And then if that's not the case, then it's a matter of acquaintance and mentorship, or, just a industry connect. And a lot of times we play each other out because, we try to quote-unquote network and we're doing it wrong.
Right.
And I've always kind of stayed quiet with that. And now that I've been in the season now where I can help people and give opportunities and mentor producers on the low, and, been blessed to be on BET, CBS, MTV. Now I've been able to do some really major stuff with trailers. We just got connected with the Trailer House. I've been able to do some really, really big things. And I've always enjoyed being low key, but this time, sometimes, you just got to kind of let the cat out the bag and just show people that it's a lot more than what it seems. I've been doing this for 17 years now.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, man, considering that, you've been doing it 17 years, and, just even in our genre, Christian hip hop, man, your name is you're one of those producers where that your name does come up. I know you wouldn't say that, but I would consider you to be, I consider you one of my colleagues. I consider you as a pioneer producer in the state of Christian hip hop where we at. You know what I'm saying? Now, we may look at like True Life, JR, those dudes like pioneers to us, but from a friend to friend, you're one of those guys that are one of those pillars when it comes to the production game and what we doing, man. So yeah, man, I definitely
that's humbling, man.
Yeah, and the Bible says let another man praise you, so that's what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And you have put in a lot of work. You know what I'm saying, to be able to, for the lack of better words, toot your horn just a little tap. You know what I'm saying? And it's good.
You know what? And there it is. That's it right there. I have my little old man moments, right?
Yeah.
I feel I'm having more and more old man moments where it's like, you know what? I got to say something. And God knows my heart. A lot of people that I mentor, a lot of people that I'm cool with know my heart.
Josh.
And sometimes it's okay to say something.
That's right. Josh, let me tell you something, bro. We old, bro.
Yeah, man. And you know, let me say something about that. And it's funny that this comes up too, just because we're the same age, and I consider you a colleague, I consider you a friend.
Yeah.
And I'm only 6 years into Christian hip hop. My first project I actually produced, top to bottom with an artist, and the music was the Hillsong remix, and then after that was the Baltimore, the Be More House project that we did, and then some other, the Josh project, and then the Datin stuff. And, throughout all those moments, I've realized, right, and I feel myself getting into these stages of adulthood where, as old men, I don't consider myself old, but as we get older, we start pointing the finger at stuff that we don't like. And I'm finding myself, like, having to push back and actually open my arms versus close them and point.
Right.
Because there's so many things that I don't like about what's happening in the state of music, in the state of production, in the state of the culture, all the things that are happening, right? And the narratives are changing. And I'm finding myself that I have to open my arms more and just show grace and prudence, you know what I'm saying? And then it's a lot harder now, man, because the state of music where we are as producers, a lot of it is changing. And what's happening is the narratives are changing.
Right.
I'm realizing that if I don't take control of my narrative, people won't know. Like, people don't know that I was Datin's introduction to Christian hip-hop, in the sense that him and Lionel King, great friends of ours, part of the same crew, good friends, introduced me to them. I met them at Rap Fest. Shout to Bert and Brother E in the Bronx. The same day I met Wit and Frontliners when he was super young.
Right.
And I from that day, you know, I was kind of helping him, mentoring him musically, and we kept coming over to my house and kind of sculpting and helping him out in regards to Christian hip hop. So I've been with Datin since day one, and nothing's really changed.
Right.
Well, in regards to the process, I think a lot of it has to do with relationship, though.
Right.
Go ahead,
And so that's a great segue into what we're talking about. Why? Because of you saying that there has been a drastic change in the state of music, in the state of producers. Why do you feel that it's important to you as a producer to work close knit with an artist?
Well, I think I've always had this vision. I know Pharrell, Flying Lotus, other big guys, they see music as a visual thing. Because of my spiritual upbringing and my awakening in Christ, and also the understanding of my gift, right?
Right.
Every one of us have unique gifts. I may not be the worship leader like my brother or someone else, but I know that the gift God's given me caters to certain people that do lead other people into worship and praise, but it may not be what other people consider. So my role as a producer has always been, in my head, I am the one that carries the bag with the seeds in them. And the rapper is the one that takes the seeds, makes the songs, not plants the seeds, but throws them on the ground. The Holy Spirit waters them, and he does the work. The ground, the heart of man, which is the ground of that parable, is softened by the Holy Spirit.
Right. Well,
somebody has to carry the bag and do the work.
Right. But now, CT, I can go so left with this conversation because I'm a true believer in what you said in the very beginning, that you as the producer, you the first. You the seed. According to what you said, you lay down the groundwork. The artist gets the music and paint this whole picture on it. And my point of saying that is that my point that I'm trying to drive is that, man, I remember a guy saying this before, man. He was like, whatever spirit is on the producer would be on the artist. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that, Doc. I believe whatever at that given moment, whatever I'm producing, what's going to happen, that artist is going to take that song and they're going to catch some of the vibe and some of that feel and some of that whatever was going on at that point of time as me making it. They was going to take it and then they was going to plant the seeds, and then the Holy Spirit come and just give life to the thing, man. I mean, wow.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I may not use the same wordage because it would limit the understanding of people, right?
Right.
But I agree with the vibes. We control the vibe. We control the energy.
Right.
I've always been big on that, man. The energy and all that. It sounds weird when you talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Right.
It's true. The sound of the drums, they just filter it a little bit,
right.
or use a distressor on a certain drum loop or something. It changes everything. There's certain chords you use, transitions, samples, and drum hits, and changes. All that stuff changes. The little minor things that change the vibe and the energy, and the rapper feeds off of it.
Right.
And I think to be a producer, you got to be two things. You got to be an archaeologist, and you have to be a visionary.
Right.
An archaeologist, why? Because you have to study music. You, as a producer, have to know so much about the references and things, just like an archaeologist would. You know, you stick an archaeologist somewhere in Egypt or in a field where he studied. He knows the topography. He knows the sand. He knows the years certain things are built and made, and he knows the era just by looking at certain things.
Right.
And that helps the embetterment of science and culture. The same thing with the producer. When we're making music, we have to study the craft and know what sounds like what, where goes, what goes where. If I'm making a song and I'm inspired by a certain group, I listen to it and I say, wow, I see what they did there.
Right.
Let me try something similar.
Right.
Without copying, but let me try it. Let me learn this style of music, and I see how it goes.
Wow.
With just having a limited mindset, we can't push the culture anymore and fill the voids, because there's always going to be a void. There's always going to be a way to make things better.
Right.
But how do we do that without trying and being visionaries? And when you make the music and you hear the energy that's coming out of it, people may not like dubstep. People may not like EDM trap. People may not like old school, or quote unquote old school hard body music.
Right.
Until you see certain people take that energy and flip it. In no way am I endorsing Beyonce.
Right.
In no way am I endorsing any of that stuff.
Right.
But when you hear Just Blaze Beats Freedom over a Beyonce vocal,
right,
it flips the energy completely. And as a student of music, I have to hear that and say, man, look at what they did.
Right.
That makes me want to. Go ahead.
Right, and you can't help but think as a producer, be like, yo, this dude Just Blaze is a freaking genius.
Exactly. Because we could have made those. That's a 5-minute beat. Anybody could have made that beat.
Right.
But what he did to it and how he was able to introduce it in that way and have Beyonce sing it in the way that she did puts a mix and a spin on things that's never really been done.
Wow. And man, I would assume that Just was probably in the studio with her, orchestrating this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Because he has this.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know neither. I'm just I would just think. You know what I'm saying? Just think that he was probably that, and maybe he wasn't. But I definitely get what you're saying, man. Just to be able to take something that you would not even be expecting, and then when you hear it, it's like mind blowing.
Yeah. Well, that sort of thing we don't really know, right? But it goes into what you had mentioned earlier: the beauty of technology and the beauty of being able to do remote sessions. Right. There's plugins now where I can remotely be in a session with another artist, control the screen, control the take as if I'm right there and see everything, and control it from my desktop, which I've done. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So
okay. Well, with that being said, is this as somebody that works close knit, and that likes to be in the same space as the artists when they're working? Do you think it's more organic being in the room with them, or has technology allowed it to still have the same organic feeling?
Man, you asking the wrong dude, because everything about me is like layered. So there's nothing simple about anything I say.
Right.
So it's like I look at things like this. Artist development is crucial, and we don't have enough of it anymore. It's just a bunch of people buying beats, recording, and kind of bouncing off ideas. And A&Rs and real artist development equals presence, hooks, songwriting, understanding what matches what songs with who, cultivating sounds, and all those things. Certain artists don't have that. Right. So even to get to that point, it takes a lot of time. I actually, I'll always use Datin as a reference because that's my brother. If I never did another song with Datin again, he would be my brother. And that's not to say we're not working, because the second album's already done. But with Datin, we actually had to formulate a specific sound. We got tons of songs that will never make the light of day because we were figuring stuff out. The thing I loved about Datin is that aggressive, raw, hard body nature, the passion that, not to say no one was doing, but there was a void there. Right. There was that hard body Brooklyn hip hop. And real hip hop heads don't understand when I mean Brooklyn hip hop, like that raw, hard body, just grimy hip hop.
Right.
That was missing.
Right.
And it was hard to do it in a way that was not appealing to people. Because a lot of stuff we did in the beginning sounded dated, so we had to scratch it, improve it, and keep going.
Right.
And after a while, once we got that groove, which is, I think, what happens with producers is when you're placing beats, if you don't have that groove or the vibe that the artist already has or what they're shooting for, you're just shooting noodles. You're throwing noodles on the wall and hoping that something sticks.
Wow, man!
And with technology, I'm sorry, man. I know.
No, you good. Keep going. I had to pause because I'll tell you after you finish. Keep going.
So, like with technology, man, it's tough because you can only do so much. I can send you 25 beats, but the issue is always going to be rappers have favorite producers that they go to.
Right.
So a lot of times we get bitter because they're like, oh, we got this beat. I got something that sounds like that. Oh no, we're good. I don't need this. And then we're like, oh man, I can't shoot beats anymore to this dude. I'm done.
Right.
But you have to understand that they have a certain sound already. Every rapper that has a go-to guy.
Right.
Everyone.
Right.
Whether they're able to work with him or not, they have a go-to guy. There's a reference that every rapper listening has. Think about it. There's a sound that you love from this certain producer right now.
Right.
That 9 times out of 10, you already told the dude sending you beats, I want this to sound like this.
Right.
Whether you're embarrassed to say it or not, it's true.
That's right.
Our job is to catch that vibe, like you mentioned, right? And then also put the time in.
Right.
But that time, a lot of us have not built the trust, and a lot of us don't have the track record to call ourselves, the producer name. I don't feel like I have that title yet.
Right.
I think the last album we did with Datin, I felt a little better about it because I took the Quincy Jones role, where I didn't touch every article of music and sound and file of every beat, but I helped the direction. I helped the musicians tailor it. I did the transitions.
Right. So you came along and executive produced it, for so to speak.
Well, I oversaw the production. I can't even. This is the funny thing about industry stuff. Like, I just know how it goes. I can't even take credit for executive producing. Why? Because whoever is in charge of, the rollouts or the albums, and in this specific instance, it was Bizzle. Shout out to GOM. Bizzle has the last say. So I oversaw the production. I oversaw what came in, what came out, how it was done, how it flowed together. A lot of stuff I had to help with the permission of our peers. I had to kind of readjust some things and add some stuff. And I sent it to everybody before I finished stuff, just to get everyone's okay. And it was very tough. Like, there was one song that I didn't even want to touch because I respect the producer so much. So what I ended up doing is I made an entirely different beat in the same key, transitioned it, and flipped it completely. It was just one of those things, because the rapper's verse that featured on the song, to just, I guess, be a little more specific, it was the song with Selah.
Okay.
Selah's verse was speaking in a different tone than the song was. So he was talking about how good his father was, how good of a role model he was, versus what Dre Murray was saying, was he had a completely opposite experience. So it was one of those situations, like, we can't keep the song the same because it's a completely different vibe. So we broke it down, stripped it, and then did a whole nother beat around it. Because number one, I respect Wit so much, I didn't want to touch his beat.
Right.
And number two, we had to change the vibe of the song. So a lot of times as a producer, it's not about beats. It's not about, finishing and having your hands on in the music per se. Sometimes it's just the direction of the album.
Right.
Quincy Jones never touched an instrument on Michael Jackson's project.
Right.
But he was still producer of the year.
Right. That's right. Well, man, you said so much, bro. And, me going back listening to I got the album, the Roar album. Please go pick that up on iTunes, Datin's The Roar. Go pick that up if you're listening. But when I listen to it, when I'm listening to the album track by track, I'm like, they literally handcrafted this mug. It was you could tell that the project was well planned and sought out. I'm talking about it didn't sound like it was rushed. It didn't sound microwave. It was a very organic, took your time together in the studio vibing kind of project. And man, and T, just again, bro, when I think about producers that tends to strive for this organic feel, you're one of the dudes that come up. You know what I'm saying? Even going back to the joint with you and Young Josh. You know what I'm saying? Something that was, hold on, well, we can go back to the ill songs. You know what I'm saying? Going back to listen to them joints, those joints were well planned out strategically. You know what I'm saying? And I think too, I think it's definitely something that's lacking even in as producers and musicians. And I think it's because the internet has spoiled us to a certain extent. You don't all the time get this realness. And then, I forgot, I think maybe I was at the conference or I was doing an interview with somebody about when we was doing the conference, and I was just talking about how at one time, you know what I'm saying, it was no thing for the artist and the producer to be in the studio together, and you was able to put together this awesome project because that vibe was there. And I think what's happening even in Christian hip hop, and as we're growing, I think what happens, the lack of finances, it kind of limits those things, because I've had artists that say, "Hey man, I would love to get you out here." But when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, the finances, so I'm hoping and praying as we continue to grow as a genre, and I don't want to get off the conversation, because I was about to say you need everybody. Somebody put up a post. We don't need a whole bunch of rappers. We need some more labels. We need some A&Rs. We need some managers and stuff to be able to figure this out, to make this machine make the machine and what it can be. So I'm hoping and praying that as time go on, bro, that the finances will be there, you know what I'm saying, to be able to have that feel. I mean, to be able to say, hey, I'm going to fly this producer out, or I'm going to pay for his lodging, because I want him to sit down in the studio. My home, Doc Watson and them, they have a tendency to do that. If Cannon or somebody is working on something, like I knew when Tony Tillman was working on this joint, they flew Iz out to Nashville, and I think that's good, bro. And it says a lot about the artist and the company that he's with, that they, you know what, they are about it. So, man.
Yeah. Well, I think it's good business, right?
Yes.
And then it's an investment. Mm-hmm. But to even get to that place, there's a level of respect that has to be built up.
Right.
Because at the bottom line of what we do, and we could never forget this, I have to remind myself this all the time, is that this is a faith enterprise.
Right.
This is ministry.
Yes.
But it's also a monetized business. Amen. And we have to work in balance. I can't be so money hungry that I forget the threefold, purpose of this thing, where we have to evangelize, we have to disciple, and we have to mentor, right? Mm-hmm. We have to do all those things. Those are our calling, right? Right. But then also there's the other side. There's a lot of cats that's doing this full time, and I'll never knock that, because I did it for mad long. Right. And, I've been I've been not lucky, but just through the hard work and through the grace of God and His favor, I've been able to recently work full time. You know, I work with the school district. I work with kids, and I'm able to come home and do licensing stuff and still produce.
Right.
But it takes balance. And the reason why I do it, not to knock the people that do music full time, but I realized to get where I really need to get to, I cannot do music full time and balance my responsibility of family, but then also gear and experience and things that I need.
Right.
So if it's your calling and the Lord has set it up, I know many people, and I could have did it, right?
Right.
And I've done it. Like I've gotten, not to toot my horn, and I'm not saying this, God knows my heart, y'all know me.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
I've gotten some licensing spots that paid, 6 G's or 4 G's here. But what happened? That goes directly to the bills. That goes directly to rent or mortgage and car payments, right?
Right.
It goes directly into daycare. Right. And then what you have left, you save.
Right.
Because my first priority is family.
Exactly.
And then whatever's left over, I buy equipment. But if I had $2,000 or $1,000 left and I buy a program, okay, that's cool, but then that's it.
Right.
If I had something else, a stream of income to bring in that money, it'll make it a lot faster to be able to get from point A to point B. And that's my model. That's my vision, for myself and my family and what we do. That's not everybody's narrative. Some people do it full time and they've been blessed. Some people I know just signed some really dope production deals. I recently got signed to a production deal and a licensing deal with someone, and it's been lucrative. It's been cool. But that does not mean that I'm going to sit there and say, okay, I'm there, I'm full-time. No, the complete opposite.
Right.
I said, okay, I'm there, I got it, now I go to work, now I go to school, and I'm good here because this is the goal that I wanted.
Right.
So that's kind of how I see things, and it's all a matter of balance, man. As producers, we can't get sucked into the dream. A lot of times we get sucked into that dream before you know you broke and you got all these people depending on you and you wasted, 19 years and there's nothing. And it's tough, man. I've always been able to balance both because I don't want to look back and, we think we have accolades, but really, when we get to heaven, what's it really going to be?
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you, bro. Man, before we get out of here, man, I want to, producer coming up, somebody you mentoring, you know what I'm saying? What would be some key things that you would try to get a producer to learn early on, far as coming from an aspect of production, relationship building with artists, or just being a well-rounded producer? What are some gems that you would drop on somebody that you're mentoring, bro?
Be spirit-led. Let the opportunities that you're seeking come from a spiritual discipline that you have to understand. Your calling and your walk is not everything, because there's more to, like, people say, okay, I'm called to this and I'm walking towards this, but they're doing it, but they're doing it on their own. You have to be spirit-led. You have to understand that God's timing for you and God's providence for you all is determined by your prayer life, by your humility, killing pride daily, and connecting yourself with people that can help you grow.
Wow.
If you don't connect yourself with people that can help you grow, and I mean grow in the sense of a man, responsibilities, bump all the music stuff.
Right.
Because the music stuff is going to come. And what I learned early on is if you're dope, you're going to attract people.
Right.
That's a given. So if you're dope, it's a no-brainer. People are going to come. The hard part is finding friendships that last, that matter.
Right.
Because in the blink of an eye, opportunities change people.
Right. And
this is why I've been so secretive with what I do. Because opportunities change people. And I vowed never to be that dude. I've known people that I consider friends and that I consider mentors of mine that have diamond plaques, that have, double platinum plaques, that have, a track record and a resume that will just leave you in awe. But they don't care.
Right.
they're just random people. They're somebody that just wants to have a relationship. And the higher you go and the more you do, you realize that people are empty and they need relationship. And if you can't balance that and music, and you're just a music dude and that's it, and there's nothing else to you, I mean, there's nothing to it. It's just one-sided. And unfortunately, that's the industry we live in now.
Right.
Across the board.
Man, you know...
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're good.
Because it's not just Christian hip-hop anymore.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
It's both sides.
Right.
Because we can't say that anymore. I think that line has already been erased.
Right.
It's just the industry.
Right.
And what's happening is you have smoking mirrors, and you have artists that just run themselves to the ground, and they have these dreams, which is not bad, but without balance and without prudence and without maturity, you know, we're just speaking out the side of our mouths and having no real relationship. So it's accountability and relationships and that stuff is always key to me.
Man, and you know, you hit it on the head, man. You hit it on the head when you mentioned, you know, just pride and stuff. I was, you know, in the last episode, I was just sharing the testimony of, you know, when I started out in the beginning, man, how, you know, I really, you know, I don't want to say like I overcame pride. I think now I know how I'm more alert and more watchful and try to, you know, be disciplined and, you know, being mindful when it comes to my pride issues and stuff. But boy, I was just sharing a testimony, bro. When I first started, how, man, I thought I was the man because I was working with everybody, and Sharif was managing me at the time, and I thought I had some big stuff popping off, boy, and I got my heart crushed, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I, you know, and I was saying that. It's funny how you were saying in the beginning you was talking about the state of producers, man. You know, I guess as, you know, being somebody that's been doing it, you know, 15 years, I sit back and I watch this new generation of producers come in, and I see where, you know, there's some pride and some ego stuff, and my prayer, and I literally be like, Lord, go ahead and drop them on their head now. So by the time it's time for them, but by the time you give them some stuff, hopefully they've got the lesson and know how to handle it versus just, you know, practicing a bad habit of pride and you know, just fighting with the pride, man. You know,
and you know what? That's the beauty of age. Because the beauty of where you are is should be the first response of hitting them up and saying, like, hey, I was where you were.
Right.
I say that, that's how I fight it now.
Right.
How I call it old man syndrome, right? Is I fight it. Because I fight that thing.
Right.
It's like I see somebody, I'm like, man, watch him go through this. And yeah, it happens, right?
Right.
But then as I kept growing and I kept, you know, kind of maturing, I see certain things happen. I call them up and I say, hey, you know, how you doing? Doing good. All right, cool. All right. You know, I just want to share something with you. When I was at this stage, this is what happened, blah, 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 blah. And at least you reach out, you let them know, you know, certain pitfalls that they may go through. Because I think one thing this industry needs is more mentors.
Yes.
We don't have enough mentors.
Yes.
We have opportunity seekers.
Right.
We have hustlers.
Right.
We don't have mentors.
Yes.
You know, I'd rather be a mentor and a servant leader than a dude seeking opportunity.
Yeah, bro. Yes.
Because I spent my time doing that, and I've established myself now where the Lord has seen fit to put me in a certain place where I'm okay. Right. So now I spend my time, you know, servant leading. I recently, it hasn't been made public per se, but I recently penned a deal with Elect Recordings.
Right.
And I've been kind of helping out with the producers and some really, really dope projects and kind of spearheading a lot of the production stuff. Shout out to Sojourn and you know, all the other producers. And I say Sojourn because that's our OG, man. We don't, you know, we don't respect our OGs enough. You know, you look at cats like Peace 586 and Sojourn and the CMR producers and those cats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those are the ones that paved the way for us. And I look up to those dudes. I have to have convos with them all the time.
Right. Yeah, man. Me and True Life, we stay in contact. Matter of fact, Life called me the other day because he got some stuff going on, and he needed me to return. He needed me to help him with some stuff. So, you right, bro. You know, there is a lack of mentoring. And you know, Josh, I'm gonna say this before we get out of here, bro. I was talking to a friend of mine that's an artist. We both are 39. So we had this conversation maybe about 5-6 years ago, and I was telling him, I said, man, I said, bro, I said, my attitude is when it's time for me to humbly bow out and go to another phase in life, when, you know, musically, I'm going to do that. So my man was like, man, I'm going to keep, you know, as long as I got it in me, I'm going to keep on doing it. I'm going to keep on doing it. So we had this conversation. So we talking like last week, and he was like, man, I think after this, bro, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, humbly bow out, you know what I'm saying, to move to another phase in your life. And I said, man, I told you. And, you know, when I said that 5 years ago, T, I didn't know what that humbly bow out or gracefully, you know, going into another transition is. But now I'm seeing what it is. Not only am, you know, just, you know, still producing, but moving on to, you know, doing the conferences and helping people, man, you know, helping producers and stuff. This podcast, bro, you know, man, I mean, I you know, you know, this come out of my pocket to do, but I feel like it's so necessary to do, bro, because, you know, we need that outlet, man. We need these kind of conversations. Producers need to hear, you know what I'm saying, the importance of, you know, dealing with pride and stuff and humility and stuff, man. So hey, bro, I know exactly what you're saying, man. And I'm telling you, and when my homeboy told me that, I said, you remember we talked about this almost 5-6 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, with all that being said, man, there is a lack of mentoring. I think if a lot of us older dudes, it don't take a lot. You know, God had 300 men. I mean, he used 300 people would get it. You know what I'm saying? So it only take a few good men. But if all of us if a lot of us would just say, hey, you know what, man, let's put our heads and our hands together to be able to reach back and be able to figure how can we groom this new generation of producers that are coming up, and artists in that, you know, even artists if in that case, you know what I'm saying, man, maybe we can keep, you know what I'm saying, some integrity, some standards on what we do and why we do it. You know what I'm saying? We can keep that keep that at the forefront. So I definitely feel you on that, man. And I'm always talking to people and talking to producers and talking to, you know, my colleagues about those things, man. Just how can we be able to help, you know what I'm saying, help this other generation of producers. So I'm with you, brother. definitely like-hearted.
And I have to shout you out. I got to shout you out because the transition that I'm seeing in you with the conferences and with the outreach that you're doing for producers is definitely refreshing.
Wow, man.
Because you never know. I've always seen this, man, and you never know who's watching. You never know who's listening. You never know who you're inspiring. Like, we're at the time where we can be at that place where another producer be like, man, I remember when you first did this thing. Right. And man, that inspired me. And that is, number one, it's humbling. But number two, it should remind you that there's a responsibility. If you have a certain track record at a certain time already, and you're not doing that transition, then you should reevaluate your own life and question your motives. Because everyone should transition eventually into a mentorship or an outreach kind of situation after a certain period in the career. And I've learned from you know, my OGs that that's what they do.
Right.
A lot of them become mentors. A lot of them become artist developers or A&R.
Right. Well, man, I tell you,
without that, you know.
Yeah, and I mean,
I'm a talker, man. If you don't get me off this phone, I'm gonna talk forever.
No, man, I know, bro. So, but like I was saying, bro, we need the older dudes, man. We need the guys, man, that have been in the game. We need them to make them transitions in order to, keep it going. We need to make those transitions and reach back to be able to keep the wheel going, man. So I definitely agree with you on that, man. Before we close, man, just tell the people, man, tell the artists or producers, whoever may be listening, man, if they want to get some production from you, man, how can they get in contact with you?
They could holler at, actually, Sharif is helping me out. So it's Just Advocate. So the email is justadvocate@gmail.com.
Okay.
You can also just get at me at social media. Just at TEE_WYLA on Twitter or Facebook. Mm-hmm. I'm accessible. I hit everybody back.
No doubt, man. And I'm gonna make sure I put all that in the description for the podcast, man. Well, man, T, I appreciate you coming on the show, bro. For real, man.
Oh, you're my brother, man. Anything for you. You told me, and I was there.
No doubt, man. I do consider you as to be a brother, man. We go back a hot minute, man. So it's good to be co-laboring with you in the faith when it comes to this music thing, man.
Amen. All right, man. It's great to be. It's actually a great time to be a fan of Christian hip hop. So many great things that are happening. Yeah. And just to see it all unfold. I know a lot of people are up in arms with certain things. Right. But I enjoy it because these are growing pains. Right. These are the same things. If you talk to the OGs, and I mean our OGs, I'm talking about, Propaganda and those cats from Tunnel Rap. Right. Talk to them about what happened back then with the growing pains of Christian hip hop in the beginning. And then you see it happening again now. It's a great thing because there's so many other opportunities happening. Mm-hmm. But without, without mentorship, man, it may be a train wreck. Right, but thank God for his sovereignty and his will. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen, but, we can definitely see a lot of stuff happening. A lot of newer Christians that are starting to rap, that don't have that growth yet, but we need to have grace. We can't shut them down. Right. We just have to keep our arms open, pray for them, help mentor them, and not discourage them, which is the hard part for a lot of us. Because we do need them to keep the generation going. Yeah. We need them. Yeah, and honestly, a lot of the music now for our generation, for my kids, it's a lot different. Yep. So we have to understand that. And also that whole thing, like how Paul said, be all things for all people, we have to understand that does not mean abandon certain things for all people. Right. So there is a certain balance and a standard that we have to keep. So, that all comes with mentorship and relationship, though, man. Yes, sir. Well, man, T, I know we can go about another 30 minutes. We actually went about 40 minutes, man, which is a good interview, man. So I know if we don't get off this phone, we'll just keep talking, man. But I appreciate you coming on the show, man, for real, dog. No doubt. Yeah, let me do a quick plug, man. I got a
do it.
Tape coming out.
Do it.
So in a couple months or so, I should have a beat tape coming out with some dope videos and really good description of what I love to do. So a lot of people that have been fans of the music in the past have seen kind of where I can go. I'm going to have a lot of cool singles and some stuff that you can hear in the very near future. Man. And also, prayerfully by fourth quarter, the second Datin album should be out again, overseeing the production and producing a lot of it. So that should be really cool. Look out for that. No doubt, man. Well, we definitely be looking for it, man. Beat tapes are back on. Beat tapes are definitely on the come up, bro. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The beat scene is an amazing thing right now. I love listening to beats all day. Right. I think the problem is we have to remember that there are instrumentalists, there are producers, and there's beat makers. Yes. It's a big difference now. It is. Because a lot of these cats when you listen to them, they're actually instrumentalists. They're not producers, but they're great instrumentalists.
Right.
And their projects, it's like listening to Coltrane or a very intuitive, very intelligent jazz album. You know, I listen to certain instrumentalists, man, and it just inspires me, and I think that's what I love. I grew up on that. You know, my inspirations were, you know, DJ Shadow, DJ Spinner. I could go on for days. DJ Crush. Man,
what we're gonna have to do, bro? We're gonna have to do an episode where we just talk about beat tapes and stuff. I'm telling you, because I'm working on a part 3 right now. So I'm glad you told me you got one coming out, so mine don't come out at the same time yours do. I'm gonna wait till maybe after the summer, but I am working on another beat tape, bro. And I'm gonna have to get you back on the show so we can have an episode just talking about beat tapes, man.
Yeah, that would be really dope, man. I'm a big fan of that stuff.
Yes, sir. Me too.
I listen to it all the time.
Yeah. Well, T, man, I love you, brother. And, man, I thank you for coming on the show once again, Doc.
Love you too, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
No doubt. And you've been listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast, where we talk about nothing but producer stuff. You dig?
You are listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast, the podcast that's strictly for producers.
You're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast, where we talk about nothing but producer stuff. You dig?
Yo, this is
Suckers,
and you're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast with my homie Marv. Keep it locked.
Hey yo, what's poppin'? It's your boy Swift, aka Chef Boyard Swift, aka Dr. Swigglesworth. You are now listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast with my man Marv from Mo Beats, you know what I'm saying? If you listening to any other podcast, you're slacking. Producers, step your game up by learning from the best. You dig? Holla at your boy. Peace.
Yes, sir. You've been listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast, man. And we had my homie, T. Wilder, on the show, man. Hey, man, it's always good talking to that brother, man. I love talking to T. He is a good guy. We go back a hot minute. We go back a while, man. We worked on some stuff together. Well, we worked on the same projects together. But, yeah, man, that's my homeboy, T. Wilder, man. Good information. Like I say, he's one of those dudes that really put the time and effort into cultivating whatever artist he's working with at that given moment. He has, you know, I mean, as you can see, the work that he's did. He does a lot of stuff with Datin, and even in the interview, he was, he was saying that he was responsible for even Datin coming into the Christian hip hop scene. So there's a lot of history that they have between one another, man. So definitely an authentic, genuine relationship, artist, friend, brother in Christ relationship that they have, and you can hear it in the music. So yeah, man, real good show with my homeboy T. I appreciate him stopping through. And you're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast, where we talk about nothing but producer stuff. You dig? Yeah.
You're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast, where we talk about nothing but producer stuff. You dig?
This show has been brought to you by SacredApparel.net. The homie Twink and the crew over there are always coming up with the latest fashions. The tees, the hoodies, and the hats. Right now, they got a store-wide sale going on. Everything 20% off. This would be a great time to pick up a hoodie. Everything 40% off. Regular price $40, now they $25 a hoodie. And the dope thing that I like about Sacred Apparel, they got tees for the big homies. So go check them out, sacredapparel.net, a clothing store for the ladies and gentlemen that choose to live sacred. You dig? Are you looking for those heavy trap bangers? Then you definitely need to holler at Rock House Music, specialized and known for those bending 808s. You may have heard his recent work on K-Drama's The 8 album. So if that's the sound you're going for, holla at my man Anthony over at Rock House Music. You can check out his beats on SoundCloud at www.soundcloud.com/IamRockhouse. Again, that's www.soundcloud.com/IamRockhouse. Rock House Music, home of the bending 808s. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yo, this is the Amazing SB, and you're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast with my homie Marv. Make sure you're tuned in to theamazingsb.com.
Are you working on a project and you're looking for your next banger? Well, check out the team over at soundhbeats.com. Looking for a variety of production? Well, the homie Ray and the crew over there can take care of all of your musical needs. They got exclusives, leases, and they got a clearance sale over there. Are you an artist on a budget? Well, now they are offering bulk discount prices on their lease beats. So what you waiting on? Head on over to soundhbeats.com and pick up your banger today. Christian music, all heart, soundhbeats.com.
Yo, what's good? This is your boy Young Joshua, and right now you're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast with my homie Marv. Keep it locked.
From it.
Yes, sir. And you're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast, where we talk about nothing but producer stuff. You dig? Man, what do you do when you're going through producer block? What are some things that you do to get yourself out of producer block? Normally I go into a block when I have just finished like a bulk of work for maybe like a certain artist. It happened every time. Every time I finish doing stuff for Swift, because I normally do about 3, 4, 5 tracks for his project or whatever. I go into a producer block, and it's like it may take me like 2-3 weeks to come out. Everything will be sounding like everything I did on his project. So I really hate that feeling. The same way when I was doing the stuff for Bizzle after his project, after them 6-7 songs on his last project, man, it was like everything was sounding like the stuff that I did. So man, sometimes what I have a tendency to do, I just kind of back up from the boards. I kind of just would, not make any beats for maybe about 2-3 weeks or about a week. No, about 2 weeks at the most. And I will, either be listening to, I like to listen to a lot of my old Andre Crouch stuff just to go back and listen to music. I like to listen to beat instrumentals and stuff and kind of just start stirring up some ideas in my mind. And then I come back and start to lay some stuff down, and man, you start to come up with some things. Another thing that I like that helps me, I like using loops, you know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Machine Masters, the drumbroker.com. You got those two sites. Frank Dukes, he does the Kingsway music joints. Even Jake One has a dope selection of abstract loops and stuff that I would get, you know what I'm saying, and kind of put me back in that creative flow. So yeah, I kind of just have a tendency to just back up sometime, back away from the boards and just listen, and then come back after 2 weeks and be kind of fresh. That's what I do. Some people different, you know what I'm saying? Some people try to just work through it. I have tried to work through producer block, man, and it sucks when you do that, because nothing sounds worth keeping or even trying to finish. So yeah, man, just some food for thought, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing to overcome producer block? Because as producers and artists, we all have them, you know what I'm saying? We all go through those phases where you're not really getting nothing. And prayer definitely works, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just have to go back to pray to the creator that gave you the creativity, you know what I'm saying? Go back to the Father, okay, Lord, open up my creativity that I will be able to, come up with some stuff. So yeah, definitely prayer works. Always can pray. If it ain't nothing else you can do, you can always pray. Yeah, but just want to share some of the things that I do for producer block, try to overcome producer block. So yeah, man. Few things I want to mention. The Showcase B challenge, man. For some reason, we had people we had people download the joints, but nobody but one person has emailed the beat back. So if you're listening and you downloaded the sample, please, man, email it back to us at the email. All the information is in the description at the website at marfamobeats.com. Send it back to us, man. We just trying to, stir up our community. You know what I'm saying? And hey, the dope thing about it, whoever wins, you can win a fire kit from MachineMasters.com. My homeboy AG, Billy Blast and them over there, they always they keep it coming with the drum kits and the drum sounds and stuff. Shouts out to them. So yeah, man, if you downloaded the joint, send it back to us so we can get this mug on and popping. All right. What else I want to mention? I did mention the Beat Camp Dallas. What else? What else going on? I mentioned the Our Standard showcase, producer showcase in New Orleans on the 25th. That's on the 25th of May. This weekend, man, Mother's Day. Hope you guys had a great Mother's Day. You was celebrating with your mother, your mom, or your baby mother, or your wife, or whatever. My mom been passed away about 10 years now, so it's always a bittersweet thing for me. And normally I do okay with Mother's Day. Sometimes I can do okay and just really enjoy the moment with my beautiful wife Damaris. But this year, man, it was pretty rough, man. I was really missing my mama. I guess I always tell my brothers at the church, or just individuals, hey man, cherish these moments that you have when your mom, because when she gone, she gone. You know what I'm saying? That go for even for your pops too. Even if you're maybe in a place where, relationship may not be good with your folks, man, make that relationship right. Because, man, you only get one mother and you only get one father. You know what I'm saying? And when they gone, man, they are gone. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely want to leave on a good note. I am grateful that my parents both passed away and seen me as a changed man. A godly man with a beautiful wife and children. My mama seen me on both sides of the fence, living in the streets, and changing from the street life, into a godly young man. So I'm grateful, and my dad too. My dad seen that side, even though he wasn't here. But he knew I was on that other side. He knew I was on the other side of the fence. But yeah, man. So I hope you had a good Mother's Day, man. Me and my brother-in-laws and my pops, my father-in-law, man, we cooked for all the ladies in our family, barbecued, and had a good time and played volleyball and stuff. So yeah, man, it was a real good day. It was a chill day, man. But at the same time, I was missing my mama. So. Cherish those moments and those times that you have them, man, because once they out of here, brother, they out of here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that's about it, man. This has been a good show, man. We was having some technical difficulties. I had to take the show off the air and then put it back on the air. I had to hit up Spreaker about that and having some glitches in this system, but anyway, we're gonna keep it moving. I appreciate you guys coming in, listening. I'm so grateful for the community, and just just how the podcast is growing. I hope and pray that that it's being that the podcast is being informative. You know what I'm saying, that you're benefiting from it. Hey, I would definitely love to know. You know what I'm saying? I would love to know if we're doing a good or bad job, man. If we suck, please let us know so we can see how we can unsuck ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be, just hitting in the wind and not benefiting. So, please, man, drop a line, man. You can go hit us up at marfrommobeats.com. Leave a message in the contact. We'll get the email, or you can hit me up on my Instagram. I am on my social media. I'm on Twitter at marfrommobeats. Marv, the M-A-R, the number M-A-R-V, the number 4, M-O-B-E-A-T-S. On Twitter, my Instagram is Marv, M-A-R-V 1977. So yeah, man, definitely let us know if you're enjoying it, man. If you're not enjoying it, we'll take everything in stride. But again, man, I appreciate you guys for tuning in and that's listening, man. And we're gonna have a real dope show next week. I ain't gonna tell you who we're gonna have on, but we're gonna talk about. Well, no, I am gonna tell you. We're gonna have my homeboy Stan the Man. He's a dope producer, and we're gonna be talking about mobile production. We're going to be talking about the Beatmaker 2 app. We waiting on Beatmaker 3 to come out, but out of all of the production apps, Beatmaker 2 still holding it down over iMPC, over iMachine. They just killing it. They killing it, man. So we're going to get into it, man. We're going to talk about that and have my homeboy on the show next week, man. And real quick, if there's any topics you want us to talk, y'all guys want us to talk about, please, again, let us know, man. Hit me up through the website or hit me on my social media and say, hey, man, look, why don't you do a podcast about this, about that, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Let us know. And again, I want to say thank you for tuning in, and I love you guys, and until next time, peace.
You're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast, where we talk about nothing but producer stuff. You dig?
Hey yo, what's poppin'? It's your boy Swift, aka Chef Boyard Swift, aka Dr. Swigglesworth. You are now listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast with my man Marv from Mo Beats. You know what I'm saying? If you listening to any other podcast, you're slacking. Producers, step your game up by learning from the best. You dig? Holla at your boy. Peace.
Yo, this is
Surface,
and you're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast with my homie Marv. Keep it locked.
Yo, this your man K-Drama, and you're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast with my homie Marv from the Beats, baby, yeah.
Yo, what's good? This is your boy Young Joshua, and right now, you're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast with my homie Marv. Keep it locked.
Yo, this is the amazing SB, and you're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast with my homie Marv. Make sure you tuned in to theamazingsb.com.
You are listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast, the podcast that's strictly for producers.